Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with a free baseball video for this weekend, Saturday and Sunday, June 18th and 19th. Going to look at some baseball information that might be just a bit outside from what the mainstream media talks about. Look, I figured it's a great time to do another baseball video this weekend. The NBA Finals just finished. Basketball season is done. NFL college football still 2.5 months away, so you know what that means. Shh, it's quiet time. People don't pay attention to the summer. This is a great time to be making money and building your bankroll for the next couple months before football begins in late August. Hey, look, baseball, I know it's a daily sport. It can be boring at times. I get it. But the cash is just as green when it cashes. And boy, have we been cashing in MLB. Swept the board again on Friday night. Perfect 2-0 sweep. That means we head into this weekend on a 10-2, 83% baseball run the past week and a half of my best bets at WagerTalk.com. I also post daily plays on free plays on almost a daily basis as well on my page. So if you're starting off, want to dip your feet in the water, those free plays are a great way to feel how I do baseball. Those are games that are just a bit outside from making the cut. I treat them as maybe a 1% to 2% opinion. Then, of course, the official plays are usually strong 4% best bets, with that rare 5% are thrown in sometimes as well. 10-2 the last couple weeks. Great time of the year to be playing baseball. I'm going to give you some trends, some tips, some angles, some stuff I've noticed after the first couple months of the season. That's because we are about 2 months into this baseball season after starting in early April. We still have about 4.5 months to go until the World Series wraps up in early November. We're about 40. After this weekend, most teams will have played 40% of their games. They've all played about 60 plus out of the 162. And while 60 plus games is a lot, we're not even halfway there yet. Just keep in mind, NBA and NHL combined play 162 regular season games. We're right around there. So baseball is like having both a hockey and a pro basketball season combined. That's why it's such a great moneymaker. There's so much volume, so many opportunities to choose from. Going to give you some situations here with some play-on-play against teams, some things I've been looking at here over the past couple weeks that you can use not only this weekend, but also over the next couple weeks as we head into the rest of June and July. By the way, Father's Day weekend. Happy Father's Day to all of you out there watching this, especially on Sunday. WagerTalk.com, I do have a special Father's Day special right now on my page. Get the next month of baseball through the All-Star break, which is a week later this year. It's the third week of July, so you're going to get a full month of baseball for just $149. Normally it's $179. We're slashing it down to $149 this Saturday and Sunday only. Of course, if you're serious about making money, you want to play the entire season, big discount this weekend only, $499. Last chance to get that $499 season special. Normally it's $685. That gets you everything through the World Series the next 4.5 months through November. Once again, no promo code needed. Get it on my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Use shortcut code WT.buzz/SM to get there quicker. All right, look, we're about 40% of the way through. As I said, after this weekend, everyone's played about 40% of their games, 60-plus games overall. I like to look at road numbers. You all have heard me say this before because all the ballparks are slightly different. Coors Field, for example, is a very heavy offensive park. I also like to look at NL and AL stats in years past because the National League always had a designated hitter. Their offensive numbers were always going to be a little bit weaker because they only had 8 out of 9 hitters in the lineup compared to the AL, which had 9 strong hitters. This year, we have a DH in both leagues. So what I'm going to do for the first time ever is actually look at the overall MLB stats. We're going to put them all in one lump sum, keep things simple. And we're going to look at road games only because, once again, after this weekend, everyone's played almost 30-plus road games this season. So I think it's a good sample. Not a surprise who the suspects, the offensive powerhouse is. And by the way, I'm looking at offense because pitching is obviously very important. And for the most part, the odds are set on the starting pitchers. But that's going to vary every day. And it's going to be 4 or 5 different guys for every team on a weekly basis. So the one constant, and the one thing I think personally is underlooked a little bit, or overlooked rather, is offensive momentum, offensive numbers. So I'd like to try to play hot offensive teams, fade cold teams offensively. And I want to look at the overall best offensive teams this season. First of all, coming into Saturday after Friday night, Yankees won again, impressive 12-3 win at Toronto. Yankees now 48-16 on the season. Yes, they will cool off at some point. That's a win percentage of 75%. That means they should win over 121 games this year. I don't think that's going to happen. Aaron Judge now at FanDuel is minus money to be the home run champ. Everybody else is 8-1 or higher. So no question the Yankees are getting it done. I was a little suspect a couple weeks ago because they played a lot of games against the Orioles to start the season, but they've picked it up since against winning teams. They're now 19-7 against above 500 teams. That's the best win percentage against winning teams, best win percentage overall. Yankees are legit, to say the least. Blue Jays have been turning it on, though. They're now still 10 games above 500 after losing that game Friday night. But they're just 16 and 19 against winning teams this season, so something to keep an eye on there. I still think Toronto's going to be in the mix, though, come playoff time. As far as division odds, real quick, while we're talking about it, Yankees right now at FanDuel minus 550 to win the division. Blue Jays plus 650, Rays 20-1. So the Yankees really running away with that division. Second best record in all of baseball right now is the other New York team, the New York Mets. They've won 65% of their games, and that's a pace, also that's probably not going to be held up. But a 65% win percentage over the course of the season still transfers to about 105 wins. So that's more doable. Yankees 121 wins is not happening. I'll tell you that much right now. And the odds reflect that. Mets are minus 200 to win their division. The Braves are plus 220. And that's, of course, because Atlanta won their first 14 games in the month of June until Friday night when they finally suffered a loss, a 1-0 loss, close loss against the Cubs, who had been on a 10-game losing streak. So you had a 14-game win streak, road favorite, lose 1-0 to a 10-game losing streak to the Cubs. I'm doing this video late Friday night, so we'll see how that continues on Saturday and Sunday, see if the Braves maybe are starting to cool off, and if the Cubs are starting to heat up. We'll keep an eye on that. Let's get back, though, to offensive stats. Yankees, a lot of things we can look at first. So I can look at batting average, on base, slugging. Let's look at what I think is the best overall stat for baseball, and that's on base plus slugging. On base is hits and walks. Getting on base is important. Slugging is extra base hits, right? It's kind of a powerful batting average. OPS, on base plus slugging. Let's look at that stat. We're going to look at road games only. Phillies, the number one team in the league this year. Now, the Phillies, of course, fired their manager a few weeks ago. They went on a monster run, winning, 7 or 8 straight. Cooled off a little bit, but then they got the worst team in the NL, the Nationals, on Friday night. They swept a doubleheader in D.C. High-scoring games. Yankees, the second best OPS. Dodgers, third. The Braves, who I just talked about, fourth. The Mets, fifth. So 3 of the top 5 are NL East teams. And guess what? The 6th best offensive team on the road this year is also an NL East team, but it's not the Marlins. It's the Washington Nationals, who have been just god-awful. My Washington Nationals, terrible at home this year. Surprisingly not bad on the road. And I mentioned this about a month ago when I did a video here at about the quarter mark. Now we're at the 40% mark. And I said the Nationals had some of the best offensive numbers on the road this year, some of the worst at home. After 32 road games, and they're at home this weekend, the Nationals had the best batting average on the road. They had the best on-base percentage. Slugging isn't quite as strong. That's what's hurting them this season. They're only 13th in slugging. But when you do on-base and slugging, they get back up to 6th. So they're hitting the ball, or 5th actually, tied for 5th with the Mets now. So they're hitting the ball. They're just not getting those extra powerful base hits like some other teams. The reason I bring this up is because the Nationals have a terrible record this year after getting swept by the Phillies on Friday night. This team is now 23-45. That's a 34% win percentage. It's tied with Oakland going into the weekend, and Kansas City basically within a game or so is the worst record in baseball. That's a pace to win only about 55 games out of 162. Now, the worst team in baseball every year wins over 50 games, so can't get much worse than 55. This is a team that won the World Series just 3 years ago. There could be some upside at some point with the Nationals, where we have to be careful, though. Josh Bell, home run on Friday. He'll probably be traded. Nelson Cruz, they picked up as the 4-5 hitter. He'll probably be traded at some point. These are veterans who, some contender will pick up probably in August. But I do think when the Nationals start to put some wins together, this could be a team we jump on at some point and get a little bit of momentum. The pitching has been really bad, but their offense, especially on the road, has been strong. And that's 32 games. Only 3 of those games have been in Coors Field in the altitude. So it's not a phony number. They've been really bad at home. I'm not sure there's necessarily a reason. I think some of it's just random variance. But the fact they've been pretty good offensively on the road this year makes me think the Nationals maybe could be a little better than expected. And by the way, the American League East and the National League East both are very deep, and that's another reason why the Nationals are struggling. And I bring that up because only 2 teams out of 10 in those 2 Eastern divisions have negative run differentials this year. Of course, the Nationals, and the other one is the Baltimore Orioles, the other Beltway team. My team growing up, now the Nationals are technically my home team. Both teams have struggled 1 loss, but the Orioles were actually supposed to be the worst team coming into the season this year. They have quietly played good baseball. Won 2 out of 4 against the Blue Jays earlier this week. Beat the Rays on Friday night, a 1-0 low-scoring game, which isn't how the Orioles have been winning. They've been doing it offensively for the most part. They're now 29-37. It's supposed to be the worst team in baseball because of that tough division. They're just 8 games below 500. They've won 6 of their last 10 heading into the weekend on Saturday. This is a team that continues to play hard, and they can put some runs up at times. And that's where I think the Nationals could be here if they get hot at some point. So AL East, NL East, loaded with the two best teams in the league, Yankees, Mets. A lot of other good teams, as I mentioned, Blue Jays and Rays. Good offensive teams in the Phillies and Braves behind the Mets. The Orioles and the Nationals both might be a little bit better than people realize because of the tough competition they've had to play this year. Nationals have had to play 37 games against winning teams. Orioles have had to play 45 of their 66 games so far against winning teams. A lot of those against the Yankees, as I mentioned earlier. So keep an eye on the Orioles, especially the Nationals, who are really underachieving right now. Might be some upside in the near future with those teams. As far as misleading stats, last year, those watching these videos know I was talking about how the Mariners were vastly outperforming. I was basing that on expected win-loss record. Expected win-loss record is simply runs scored versus runs allowed. If you're winning a lot of close games or losing a lot of close games, your record's better or worse than it should be. Just glancing here at the schedule heading into the weekend, or the standings rather, after about 40% through the season, not a lot of huge outliers like we had last year. The Detroit Tigers are one that's interesting. They have the third or fourth worst record, depending on what day you're watching this video, in the league at 24-40. They should be even worse. 19-45 is their expected win-loss. They have the worst run differential in baseball at -103, except for Pittsburgh, who's actually third in their own division. The Pittsburgh Pirates are third in their division, but have the tie for the second worst run differential in all of baseball. Pittsburgh should be a worse record. The Nationals, -114, the worst run differential overall. It gets back to that team that I said has been so bad, yet has some of the best road offensive numbers this year. Something doesn't jive there. Either they're going to come back down to earth on the road, or there's maybe some potential upside with them if they can turn things around. We'll keep an eye on them. I thought that was interesting. Oakland's been really bad. Obviously, the Angels, 27-17 a month ago, leading their division. Then they'd lose 18 out of 20, and yet they're still just 5 back of the wild card heading into the weekend. So at some point, the Angels might start to turn things around. Doesn't look like it's going to happen Friday night. As I'm doing this video late Friday, they're losing 8-0 in the bottom of the 7th to Seattle. So, you hear me say, don't catch a falling knife. These teams that have been really bad, like the Nationals, the Angels currently, you don't start playing them because they're due. You wait for them to bottom out, get a couple wins, turn things around. The Cincinnati Reds did that. They started 3-19. They lost 20 out of 21 games. They played 500 baseball after that over the next couple weeks, and they actually aren't even one of the worst teams anymore. They've been much better the last couple months, almost around 40-50% winners at times. Had to wait for that bottoming period, right? You waited for that knife to bounce. Speeding bullets, the Mets, the Yankees especially, who I talked about earlier. You don't start fading them. The Yankees are not going to win 121 games. They're 48-16. But we don't just start fading them. They've still won 9 of their last 10 heading into this weekend, right? You wait for them to cool off at some point. Maybe some injuries to someone like Judge or someone who's been red hot. You wait for a catalyst for up or down. The Phillies got that catalyst with the manager change. They've started to cool off a bit, although they got hot again against the Nationals on Friday. Look, this is just some big picture stuff I look at when handicapping baseball. There's a lot of intricacies, a lot of other factors I use. I have a math model, a lot of other trends and systems, pitcher projections and whatnot. You get all of that incorporated when I make my best bets every day. I'm very selective, maybe 1 to 2 best bets a day for my personal clients, maybe 3 when we see an extra strong card. I had a 2-0 sweep Friday night, now 10-2. 83% the last couple of weeks as we head into the weekend on best bets. Don't forget, I also post free plays on a daily basis at WagerTalk.com. Father's Day special, if you want to try the month of baseball through the All-Star break the next month, just $149, discounted price from $179. Or if you really want to get serious and take a serious investment approach for the rest of the summer and this season, the next 4.5 months through the World Series through early November, just $499. That's normally $685. $499 this weekend, this Father's Day weekend, Saturday or Sunday. No promo code needed. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Thanks for watching. I'll be hosting some Wager Talk today this upcoming week. Be sure to check that out at noon Eastern here. Also, don't forget about the MLB show at 1:45 Eastern every Monday through Friday. And, of course, if you missed it, no worries. Every video and show archived 24/7, 365 right here, Wager Talk TV on YouTube. If you found this useful, give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe. Let's get to 100,000 subscribers. Hit subscribe if you haven't already done so. And think about hitting that bell. When I do these weekend videos, you get instantly alerted. You can be the first to watch it and take advantage of some actionable info, even if it might be just a bit outside. Hey, leave me some comments below. Let me know your thoughts as well on the season, which teams you like to win the division, which teams you think are underrated, overrated, some play-on-play against teams in the near future. Leave comments below. I read every one of them, and I reply back. I love the support. Thank you once again for watching this weekend. Have a great winning Saturday and Sunday, and I'll talk to you again this week right here on Wager Talk TV.